Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor. If this is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, thank you so much for stopping by. On this YouTube channel, we learn how to turn void materials into a beautiful piece. So guys, for today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to draft an overbust corset. Now, I have seen so many designs of this overbust corset and it's actually beautiful, and then this tutorial came in on a request, so I have tried as much as possible to make this tutorial very simple and easy to understand. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, without wasting much of your time guys, let's head to the tutorial proper. So guys, for the first part of this tutorial, we are going to be making use of this material, and this is a doll face material. I have this to be 2 yards. So depending on the material you want to make use of, you can go ahead and use yours. But for me, I'm going to be making use of this. So I'll go ahead and keep this aside now. So as you can see, I have gone ahead to get our horizontal basic bodies, and then at this point I came down by ½ an inch, which is where we usually start our shoulder. Then from our shoulder point I came down by 10 inches, which is going to be 7 as our breast point, and then I marked 13 inches for our underbust. I marked my front half length, which is 16, and then the full length is 24 inches. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and get our basic neckline. So from this point here, I will mark 8 inches, which is going to be 7 as my divided by 2. I will mark it down here, then I will connect it all the way. Then from this our shoulder, I will come down by my 8 inches, which is my remaining half of my shoulder. Okay, so I will connect it down to this point. After marking it, I'll go ahead and label this our chest line. Okay, then from here I will connect it from here to meet the shoulder. All right, so from here I will come out by 3 inches, which is going to be my neck width, and then I will come down by 3 inches, which is going to be my neck depth. Mind you, I'm not going to be making use of this neck. It's just going to be 7 as a basics for now. Then from this our shoulder will come down by 1.5 for our shoulder slope and connect it to the neckline. Okay, so the armhole depth we have here is 6.5. Then I'll be using 3 inches. Okay, then I'll come up from our chest line to this point and mark 3 inches, and then from that 3 inches I will go in by ½ an inch. Then I will mark my round bust circumference divided by 4, which will give me 9 inch. I will mark the 9 inches down here, and then I will add extra 1 inch allowance. Don't worry, in the process of this tutorial you are going to understand why I added the inches. So I've gone ahead now to connect our armhole circumference. Can you see that? So I'm going to quickly explain. The corset we're trying to create does not have a straight dart, it have a slanted dart. So my bust span divided by 2 will give us 4 inches. So at this our breast point, we'll come here and then mark down our 4 inches at this breast point. Okay, now from here we'll come to this our dart leg, which is our full length. I will mark 2.5, and then at this underbust I will still maintain my 4 inches. So what we're going to do right now is to connect them together like so. Okay, so please go ahead and connect yours now. So we're going to go ahead now and start our basic bodies, but before that we're going to come to this our waistline. I will mark my waistline circumference divided by 4, which is 8 inches. We'll mark it down here, and then I will add extra 1 inch allowance for our dart intake. Okay, so please take note. Then at this full length, I'll be making use of my hip measurement, which is 10. We'll mark it down here. All right, so after marking it now, we'll go ahead and connect all these lines together. So please go ahead and connect yours together. So after connecting it, we'll come here and eliminate any sharp edge. Okay, so at this our waistline, we'll come in by ½ an inch. All right, and then we'll also come out by ½ an inch. Now this is going to be 7 as our dart intake. Remember, we added extra 1 inch to our dart allowance. So we'll go ahead and connect these dart legs like this, just the normal way we usually connect our dart leg, like this, and extend it to the hip line. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do right now is our underbust tightening. So we'll come to this our underbust here at this point and come out by 1 inch like this, and then we'll mark it down here. and then we'll come at this other point here and come in by 1 inch as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and use our curve rule and connect it like this. So you want to make sure your ruler is placed in a way that you will get a nice curve like this, just the way I am curving it out. And then we'll connect the 1 inch to our breast point at this other side as well. So you can see the way I am connecting it. This is how we are meant to connect it like this. Now at this point here, this is our full length. I will come out by 1/2 inch and then come in by 1/2 inch. We are just trying to snatch our waist at this point. Okay, then this point here, you want to make sure that this place is not pointy. You want to give it a little curve to make sure that place is not too sharp. All right, so after connecting this, now we'll go ahead and extend it to our full length like this. So please go ahead and connect yours like this. Now this is what we have. We have gone ahead to do our underbust tightening. We'll go ahead and mark this out. So this is going to go up. Now the difference between my waistline at the front and my back waistline is 2 inches. From my breast point, I will come down by 2 inches, and then from that 2 inches I will connect it to my breast point to this bust tightening like this. I hope you understand. So from here now, the next one we're going to do is to get our shoulder dart. Okay, so but before that, we're going to go ahead and get our overbust line. All right, our overbust line from this our breast point will come up by 3.5 inches. You can come up as much as 4 inches. You can do 3 inches depending on how you want yours to be. I don't want mine to be too exposed. So after coming up by that 3.5 inches, we'll go ahead and connect the lines like this and then label this our overbust. I hope you understand to this point. Okay, so after labeling it now, the next thing we're going to do right now is to go ahead and get our shoulder dart. Now from this our shoulder, we'll come here and divide this our shoulder by 2. After dividing it by 2 like this, we'll come here and then just mark it down at this point after dividing it. Now from that division that we marked there, we'll go ahead and connect it to meet this our breast point like this. Now this is where we are going to be doing our overbust tightening as well. So just pay attention to this point so you understand every process we are going to be taking. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and drop this and work on our back pattern. So from here we'll come down by 1/2 inch. This is where we're going to be taking our basic bodies from, and then we'll connect it like this to this point. Okay, so from here, after connecting it now, we'll go ahead and label this our shoulder line. So this is going to be 7 as our shoulder. Now from this our shoulder point here, we'll come down by 10 inches, which is going to be 7 as our breast point. Now the difference between our back waistline and our front waistline is 2 inches. So for my back waistline, I have it to be 14 inches. Remember the front is 16. Okay, so I will just go ahead and connect these lines together just to have a perfect line when I connect it horizontally. So we'll go ahead and connect this line like so. Okay, so for us to know how to get this particular pattern, you need to see our basic bodies tutorial where we had a detailed tutorial on how to achieve all this process we are doing here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and label this our breast point. This is going to be our waistline for the back. Okay, so I'll just label this the back, and then we'll bring out our front pattern now to know the difference, the length, to get our full length. So from this our shoulder here, you can see that our front waistline is 16 inches and then our back waistline is 14 inches. That is why I say the difference between our front and back. Now from this our waistline, we'll measure what we have to the full length, which is 8 inches. So we'll keep this aside now. Then from this our back waistline, we'll come down by that 8 inches and mark it. This is just for us to get an accurate line, because our front pattern and our back pattern is not the same length. I hope you understand. So after getting that, we'll go ahead and label this. Now you can see that at this point the front one got to the full length and then the back pattern did not. So from here we'll mark our shoulder divided by 2. Okay, and then from this our shoulder divided by 2, we just come down again. For the back neckline, we're going to be using 1 inch for our shoulder slope. Remember, we use 1.5 for our front, so for the back we're going to be using 1.1 inch. So just for me to verify what we have, and then I'll come down by 8 inches, and then just to connect it to this point. So I'll connect it down to this point and extend it. Now this is going to be our chest line. Now we'll also get our 3 inches for our neck width, and then 2 inches for our neck depth. Like I said before, we are not going to be making use of this neck, just for reference purposes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and connect it like this, and then from here we'll come down to this point, which is our shoulder slope that we came down by 1 inch. I hope we are understanding to this point. So we'll go ahead and divide our round armhole circumference by 2, and then we'll mark it at this point. Now from this point here, we'll come in by 1/2 inch, which is going to be serving as our round armhole circumference rather. Then we'll mark our bust divided by 4 here, and then after marking it, we'll go ahead and connect it like so. So please go ahead and connect it. So this part is really easy to grab, so we'll go ahead and just give it our round armhole curve like this and extend out this point like so. So from here now we'll go ahead and get our basic bodies. My waist, which is 8 inches, I will mark it down here, and then at this point I will mark my hip divided by 4. I will also mark. Now we'll go ahead and connect all these lines together. So after connecting this line, we'll just head back to our front pattern. So this is our front pattern. We'll go ahead now and reduce this paper. Please take notes. You can see that I did not cut it out from where we have our body measurement, because we are still going to be making use of this other excess that is left out. So now we come to this our shoulder points here where we had our shoulder darts. We just slice it open to our breast point. Now you want to open it up in a way it's not going to go off. Just stop at this point. Now at this our bust tightening, we are going to also slash it open. So we'll open it in a way it's not going to go off completely. So after opening it now, we'll go ahead and fold it in like this, just for us to balance our bust dart. So I'll go ahead and fold it and then place it on top of this our underbust like this. Can you see what I'm doing here? Now after placing it, we'll go ahead and pin it. So I've pinned it. Now you can see that this line here is no longer equal. So all we just need to do is to just go ahead and straighten out the line like this. Okay, for our basic line that we had there to be equal. So guys, the next thing we're going to do right now is to add extra darts to this our body, but because I don't want my waist to be too snatched, you know, corset has to do with waist snatching, so I'm not going to be snatching this waist too much because I already have a small waist. So at this our waistline, we'll go ahead and divide it into 2. You can see the way I placed my tape. I will divide it into 2. So please pay attention to this point. And then at this point here, I will come out by 2 inches. Okay, you can see that this my hip line is wider, but I came out by 2 inches. So I don't want us to confuse each other at this point. So that's why I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. Just the way you add extra boning casing or extra darts on your Victorian corset, any corset, this is just the same way you add extra darts to this point. I hope you understand. So from this place now, I will come out by 0.5 inches. Okay, and then at this other side, I will also come in here by 0.5 inches. Okay, so what I'm doing here is to just snatch my waist a little. So just know that what we are doing here, depending on the number of lines you want yours to be, depending on how you want your waist to be snatched, that is what matters in corset making. I hope you understand. So I've gone ahead now to connect this our dart line just like this. Can you see what I did here? So here is going to go out. So at this area, if you have a waistline of 30 inches like mine, you can take away 2 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, depending on how well you want your waist to be snatched. So after taking away the inches you want it to be snatched, then whatever you are left with, you now divide it by into 4. That is what you will now be working with. So now the next we're going to do is to get our overbust tightening. So remember when we're taking our basic line for our neck, we came down by 1.5 inch for our neck, our shoulder slope. Now we're going to extend our shoulder by 2 inches. So after extending it by these 2 inches like this, from this point now, we'll now come down again by 1.5 inches. So this is now going to be serving as our new shoulder slope. I hope you understand. So we'll go ahead and connect this. So in all, we have extended our shoulder. So at this point where we slashed open our shoulder dart, we take the measurement. Now at this point, what mine gave me is 3.5 inches. We'll go ahead and divide it into 2. So after dividing it into 2 like this, we'll go ahead and mark it starting from this opening. So we'll go ahead and mark 1.7 inches. Okay, after marking it down there, that is what it gave us. We'll now go ahead and connect it to meet this our breast point like so. So please just pay attention and you will understand this. This is really easy to understand. All we are trying to do here now is to get our overbust tightening. Now from here I checked at that our overbust tightening. What I have there is 1/2 inch, and then I will come to this my other side of the overbust tightening to have the same thing. I will mark the 1/2 inch and then extend it to this other side. I hope you understand it. So by the time we cut, we have exactly the same thing on both the center and the side. So one part will not be bigger than the other. So from here now, we are going to go ahead now and connect our new armhole circumference. So this is the essence of that 1 inch that I added to the extra 1 inch that I added to that my armhole circumference from the beginning. I hope you understand. So after connecting it, this is what we have. So we're going to go ahead now and divide this our new armhole circumference by 2. We're just going to go ahead and get the round armhole circumference. So whatever we get at this point, we are going to go ahead and divide it by 2. Okay, you can see the way I'm carefully taking the round armhole circumference. So mine gave me 8 inches. We're going to go ahead and divide the 8 inches and then we mark the remaining one. So after marking it now, we'll go ahead and connect it. So before we connect it now, I will go ahead to this point and come down by the neck depth I want the front of my overbust corset to have. Okay, so I'll come down from my overbust, I'll come down by 2 inches depending on how you want yours to be. So mine, I came down by 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and open up this our bust tightening so that I can be able to get a very nice curve for our neckline. So you can see the way it is. You can see that we're already having a curve, the depth curve, that deep curve that our overbust corsets usually have. So I'll place it on top of this like this. I'll just place it on top of it, and then we're going to go ahead now and use our curve rule to connect it to the neck, to the round armhole circumference that we divided into 2. I hope we are following. So what we're trying to get now is that pointy edge at the armhole area where the overbust used to be sharp at that edge. That is what we are trying to achieve at this point. So you want to make sure you connect it properly. So after connecting it, this is what we have. So we're going to go back now and pin this down. So after pinning it down, the next thing we're going to do right now is to go ahead and come to this point. Okay, so you can see the reason why I did not cut out the remaining excess of the pattern we had. So I'll come to this our waist baseline here, which is our dart leg, and take the dart intake circumference. So what I have there, I have it to be 2 inches. I will go ahead and replace it on our hip line here. Okay, so that our hip line can fit perfectly when we wear our corset, because I don't want it to be too tight on our hip. So after replacing it now, I will come up by 1.5 inches so that I will just give it that curve that it has at the side. Okay, so after connecting it, now we'll go ahead and connect it like this and then give it that curve. Okay, so depending on how you want your own curve area to be, so I will go ahead and connect it to this point and also give it a very nice curve to this point. Okay, so guys, in total you can see that my waist, I snatched my waist by 4. So I removed 2. I have 2 inches at this dart leg. So when this thing is on fold, we have it to be 4 inches. So in total I removed 4 inches from my 30 inches, which is my waist, my normal waist circumference. I hope you understand this point. Okay, so you can snatch your waist depending on how you want it to be snatched. I minused 4 inches, so I'll go ahead and cut this out. So after cutting this out, we'll bring back our back pattern for us to also get other dart legs. So from here I will go ahead and divide our waistline by 2. So you want to pay attention that you can see that most of all the darts we are taking and the waist snatching, they are all we're taking all these measurements from the waist. So like I said before, in corsetry, like where you have a Victorian corset that have a lot of bony casing and all of that, a lot of that, is the same thing for this one. So for me, I am going to be only having 2 darts, just 2 darts at this other side, at the back pattern. Okay, so for my chest line, all I did was to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so that I will have a nice curve at the back. So depending on the curve you want your back pattern to have, so from here I will come in by 1/2 inch because our back is not straight, to avoid it bulging. So I want it to balance at my back very, very well. So I'll go ahead and connect this to this point, to that 1 inch that we came in, and extend it to this point, to the hip line. Okay, so this is going to go out. All right, then from here I will come in by 0.5 inches, which is half inch. I will come out by 1/2 inch as well, and then we'll just connect it to give us a dart, another dart leg. Okay, so this is going to be another dart. So when we are joining our corset, there's going to be a bony here and all of that. So I hope we understand to this point. So this is going to go out and all of that. So at this point I will also replace that 2 inches. That, remember that we had 2 inches for the front back, for the front hip rather. So for this our back pattern, I'm going to be doing 1 inch at this point, because at the back front pattern we did 2 inches because of the dart. But you can notice that at this full length for the back there is no dart intake. So I just went ahead to replace 1 inch instead of 2 inches. So from here I will now come up by 1.5 inches, and then I will go ahead and still give it a nice curve, just the same way we did for the front. So after curving it now, we'll go ahead and just give it that same curve we had at the front pattern as well, and then we'll go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so this is what the back pattern looks like. So this is another corset, this is another dart here. So we are going to label this one and then give it an arrow for us to know where this is going to be. Okay, so you can see what the back looks like. So this one I only have two back pieces for the back, and then I'll go ahead and label it the center front and also label it the back. Now we'll bring our front pattern and then we'll now cut throughout other side. So you want to cut wherever you see me cut. So this is what it looks like. So this, after cutting this out, I will label this our number 1, which is our center front, and then I will label after cutting this out like this. Okay, and then I'll also go ahead and open up this other dart as well and connect it to the full length, and then cut out the excess like this. So after cutting it out, I will also pin this down to this point to know where I'm going to be cutting, to how I'm going to be placing it. So guys, this is all for the cutting of this first part of this overbust corset. You can see how easy it is. So on our next tutorial, we are going to be transferring all these pieces to our fabric, and then we're going to be sewing it. So guys, if you have watched to this point and you're yet to click on the subscribe button, please kindly click on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified when we'll post the second part of this tutorial. And please do not forget to go green, do not litter your pieces. Please do not forget to leave a comment, like and share this video so that it can get to someone who may need it. Thank you so much for watching.